So recently you moved into the role of client director. You were originally CEO. What's motivated you to step into the client director role?
I think one of the big motivating factors was really around, we've grown into this period now, and they say there's like a theory behind growth, which is 1 to 3, 3 to 10, 10 to 30, 30 to 100. And as we've really stepped into this 30 to 100 period, what's become clear is strengths and weaknesses. And it's becoming really clear around the business that where we had quite a flat C-suite structure, whilst good early on because it aided client conversations, as we've grown into this period, the strengths and weaknesses, for example, Kieran is a phenomenal brain and I am fantastic under pressure. But what I'm not very good at is long-term strategy. So owning a CEO role in that sense was almost harming the way that we could grow this business. And then from there, whilst it's not really a retreat, it's more of a pivot. It really now has allowed me to focus in on the areas that we were maybe being weaker in. So, that continuous client comms and giving them access. That's the kind of main thing that I've been looking to achieve with it. And so far, hopefully, it's working well. We seem to have clearer comms across the business. The clients have got somewhere they can go where they can, have that strategical input straight away, which is great. So far, and I get much less stress having to deal with things that I just don't do well.
From this move into client director, what do you hope the client's going to benefit from working more directly with you?
I suppose the true element to having me as a both founder and also into that client director role really relates to the fact that there isn't layers in between with an account manager. If the client's got a problem, coming to me means they've got the immediate strategical layer to make those decisions. And I've got the immediate input to Kieran and Alex to then get anything done much quicker. The other benefit, I suppose, that they get from me being with them is I've done this all my life. And the first thing I did when I joined the military, whilst not directly consulting as a job title, there was this Tiger team that we set up, which was essentially me and the section I was in, going around different sections and squadrons, talking to the officers about what they could maybe improve and essentially consulting them on how to improve their focuses. So the short-term answer is putting me into this role, which is much more pre-salesy and people-y. It's one of my favorite things to do, but it's something that, where they've got a question, because I've seen so much of the technology and so much of different journeys, I can immediately guide them on their strategy, which is, beneficial to some sense, rather than no disrespect meant by it, but rather than an account manager that's maybe not lived and breathed the tech from a technical position. It really kind of brings that section to it.
As founder, you've seen this company grow from the start up. What excites you now about the growth pattern we're on, and what is your role going to play in this growth?
Growth pattern we're on. The obvious answer to that is we've tipped 30, we want 100, right? And where we're 5 years in, 5 years of a professional services journey, we've had really good clients, we've had really good projects, we've got some really great team members. One thing we're only really now getting to grips with is customer interaction, because throughout those first 5 years, everything's largely been focused around what is the next project, how are we delivering it. It's very in the weeds. Whereas now, because we've got great layers in the teams, being able to step into this role and identify partnerships. So for example, our relationship with Microsoft is ever growing. Our ability now to place out more tactical pre-sales across different verticals and sectors is growing. There are some really exciting new verticals on the horizon that I can't wait to get into. But again, personal passion of mine from when I was younger is now leading into something that I can take and combine what I've done all my life with to what I was truly interested in, what I actually wanted to be when I was going through education. So I suppose my influence within that is dedicated resource to look at it, and it allows me to. Like I said in one of the earlier questions, I'm not a long-term strategy person. I never have been. I live for stress and I live for chaos. It's my favorite place to be, with stretch being our values, deliberately in when I started the business. But the element of then influencing the short term now and leaving that, what does 150 people look like, to the likes of the group and the collective that we've now formed, means that I get to dedicate my time and focus on those partnerships, those clients. How do we grow strategy? The tactic we've implemented within the business is to get sticky, my favorite term to use. And I think now in this new role, I've given up everything that I was evidently slower and struggling with. And now I've got all that free time to focus on the real sticky part, which is we've got a new salesperson starting soon. My strategical shift to classic sales, as every other Microsoft partner does, is now on the horizon, which is super exciting because we've never done any lead gen since we started the business. It's all been through account management and trusted advisor, etc. So where do I see this growth going and how quickly do I see it going? It's now uncapped. Can't wait for Liam to come and join a team and for us to really kind of, especially with yourself, taking on this new campaign, marketing, sales approach. Can't wait. Excited.
Obviously, you're client direct, but we can't forget your founder. What has been the top 3 highlights of Power 365 for you so far?
First was our first Christmas party. And our first Christmas party was an ability to sit back in a chair. Because this business started from being too busy freelancing. It was a contractor. We had too many clients, and we essentially got to a position where we were able to self-fund and hire to then deliver the work that was too, coming at us. It was originally from the likes of Fiverr. It's where we really started. Was building SharePoint sites for $10. That's what the first kind of revenue in. And growing then and hiring people, and Alex Jones being the first person we brought on, Alex Ward being second, Kieran being included, Molly, very early days. And our first Christmas party was at the NEC in Birmingham. Big highlight for me inside that was then sitting around a table and seeing all these people around a table. And we'd made that happen. These people were there for us, celebrating the win that we'd maybe got to through Christmas. And even, every month back then was a win. Are we making it to next month? Are we making it to next month? Second biggest highlight, probably recently actually, referenced being the Digital Revolution Awards. That was certainly a highlight, and being able to, whilst the award and the kind of ceremony we didn't win, obviously there's some great kind of competition in there, but the acknowledgement of the award isn't my reference to highlight there. It was actually the ability to bring the team, the client with us. And that's the first time, and they've been with us for 4 or 5 years, and they're so close to my heart as a client, one of my favorite clients. I shouldn't say that publicly, you're all my favorite clients, but being able to bring them to the awards, to a black tie event, ball gowns and drinks and food, and allow them to celebrate in what they'd also built, because it was their technology that we were celebrating, in short. Third highlight, probably this office, to be honest. This was a real eye-opening moment where we'd gone from, our first office was WeWork in Birmingham, our second office was in Holborn, and it was in a basement, and poor Alex was coming in 5 days a week and seeing no sun, and then exiting in the dark and out in the dark. But having everybody in the first time to this office, and I walked through that company day, and I was late. I think it was off the back of a flight. I think I'd been delayed. I think my flight had been cancelled, and I came in late, and I'd walking in to see everyone here in this office with our sign on the wall, there to celebrate the wins. The quarter of the employee of the quarter being dished out. Phenomenal. Yeah, the flip of that is, I remember our first sales target meeting where we were sat in a room and talking about what target we need this year, and it was like 70K for the year. And when you're dealing with numbers like that, it's fun. When you're then dealing with 30 plus people's wages and you've got to make X amount every month, as much as the 3 highlights, and it's great to celebrate growth, and it's great for me to. It's certainly what keeps me ticking. There's been some really difficult decisions to be made in those years as well. There's been a lot of sacrifice. Growth, to summarize, absolutely is growth. Yeah, and it's great to see everyone enjoying it too.